You're now recording.
Okay, awesome. That's like the one thing I always forget. Hello, everyone. I'm Monica, and I am so excited to be here. I have to say that I would rather be seeing you all in person, um, but I'm really glad that we can be together, even if we're together virtually and connecting virtually. Now, I know that for some of you, I'm meeting you for the first time. Some of you I've met at the larger Chamber of Commerce event, and know that I'm super excited to connect with you and super excited to be here. Now, I did change the topic a little bit of what I was going to talk about due to the fact that all of the questions I've been getting is, how do I grow my business now? Right? Like, what do I do now in the time of Corona and the time of uncertainty? And so, Jill, I hope you don't mind. I'm going to talk a little, I'm going to talk about money for sure, but I'm also going to talk about uncertainty and how to grow your business in relation to what's going on at the moment. Um, I've been doing Facebook Lives with people, and what I have noticed is that um, the for the depending on how long this lasts, for March, April, May, maybe possibly June, our environment is going to be different. And I just want to say before I move on, I have a sinus infection, and I have to kind of write it out because my doctor told me that I couldn't come in to see him because he was afraid I would get corona. So just know I'm totally okay, but I am going to be sniffling a little bit and coughing, and I apologize ahead of time for that. um, One of the things I've noticed is that we got to learn how we're going to operate differently for the next 3 months, and so what are we actually going to do? And so so we're going to start with what I call the 4 C's of growing. So I just want to ask, as we move into this, give yourself the opportunity to like be with me, turn off your distractions. And then I'm also going to be asking for interactions. So I love that all of your screens are on. If you like what I'm saying or resonates with you, I ask that you put the word money into the chat. And that's just a fun way for us to interact with each other. Also, there's going to be times for Q&A at the end, and so we will definitely put your questions into the chat as well, and we'll go from there. Now, first of all, I just want to check in and make sure that, so I want to hear from you guys, like, what are you feeling right now? Right? I think it would, like, just go ahead and put into the chat. How are you feeling about your business? How are you feeling about the world and what's going on? I want to just get a sense of how's everybody doing. So go ahead and put it in the chat. How are you feeling about stressed? Yeah. Um, I'm hearing anxious. Yes, 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 for sure. What else? How are you feeling right now about the uncertainty? Good. Can't wait till we get back to normal. Totally, totally. Numb. Need strategies. Good, Maxine. Yeah. Concerned, anxious, but optimistic. Awesome. Yeah, like I think good. I mean, this covers where we're at right now. And I actually think we're all at different places. I think some, like the numbness is sort of phase one, and then there's like surrender, which is phase two. Then we hit like stress and anxiety in between the numbness and the surrender, and then we kind of go back to surrender, and then at some point we have gratitude, right? I mean, like that's pretty much our days at this point. And what I want to do is give you some strategies. Maxine, it's funny, like I love that you said that. Give you some strategies on how to deal now, and what we can be doing now in the marketplace, because it's scary out there. And that scariness is, we have to kind of deal with that. And I put all those yellow lines on there because it feels a little bit out, like, it's a little scary and we don't quite know what to do. And not to mention the fact that I don't know that quarantine I think it's great for the short term, but I think we also have to manage what it's doing to our mental health. As entrepreneurs, like, we need to get out and connect with one another. There's a reason why we have these groups, and it's not just about, oh, let's meet each other to make money. Sure, that's a big part of it, but it's also about let's meet each other and connect and communicate and align and resonate and validate. And so we also need to think about what that's going to mean for our businesses and for ourselves as we move forward without that. So before we get into those strategies, I want to tell you a little bit about myself. This is a little bit about me. The top right picture is my office in New York. I'm not in my office now, but it's downstairs from where I live. I have the blessing to have my office and my home in the same building. These yellow lines, I don't think that they're on my screen. I think they might be on the template, Jill, just so you know. But that's okay. We'll just work around them. There you go. Thank you, Jill. I was like, they could add a touch of creativity. I don't mind that, but I don't think that they belong there. Anyway, so there's the office on the top right. That's my cat Merlin, who I absolutely adore, and my husband and I going on a date night. Now, I'm really proud of the things that I've created in my life, but I will tell you, it didn't start that way. In fact, my journey was a bumpy one. I graduated from the Kellogg School of Management with my MBA. I was really proud and excited. I went and worked at, I really thought I was hot shit because I had those 3 letters behind my name. I went and I worked at L'Oreal Paris. I was a brand manager there, kicked it there, but I didn't really fit in at L'Oreal. And one of the things that I really noticed is that I wanted to do something different. And I wasn't on mission. I wasn't doing what I really wanted to be doing in the world. So I left out of L'Oreal and I started my own company. Within 12 months of being in my own company, I was $25,000 in debt. And I'd like to say it was because I was spending it on shoes and great clothes, but I wasn't. I was spending it on just trying to stay afloat, doing things in my business that I needed to be doing. And that debt just kept getting larger and larger, and I didn't know how to pay it off. So I started doing what every good New York girl does, which is like hustle to make money. I started cat sitting, dog walking, doing focus groups. I started selling stuff on eBay. And one of the things I did was rent my apartment out on Airbnb. There was a particular week where I rented my apartment out for 7 days in a row, 2 days in one person's house, 3 days in another person's house, another 2 days in another person's house. And the thing about New York is that we don't have extra bedrooms here for, most of us. So I'm sleeping on people's couches and on their floors. And I grab my stuff to leave that day. I get in the subway and I get out of the subway. I have 2 bags on one arm, 2 bags on another arm, a bag across my chest, and then a roller bag that I'm carrying up the subway stairs. And I get to the top of the subway stairs and I look to the left and the escalator is closed. And I look to the right and the elevator is closed. And I look in front of me and there's 4 more flights of stairs to get to street level. And at that moment, I got really tired. And I put my bags down on the subway floor. And I did the unthinkable. I sat down on the subway floor. Like, you've hit rock bottom when you sit down on a New York subway floor. And there I am, like all like spread out amongst my bags, and New Yorkers are walking by me and they're doing their best to not look at me, but they're staring straight at me and the tears are rolling down my face. And I'm having this moment where I'm realizing something has to shift because I am working 80 plus hours a week for my business so that I can say that I am an entrepreneur, just so that I don't have to work 40 plus hours for someone else. I've gone from Kellogg and L'Oreal to being a bag lady across New York City, and just schlepping all kinds of stuff everywhere because I don't know how to make money in my business and I don't know how to pay the debt off, and it just keeps growing larger and larger. And I know that I'm not alone in this, right? I know that there's so many entrepreneurs who are making money, but it's sporadic, or it's unpredictable, or it's simply not enough, or it's not any. You're doing a lot of giving away. And ultimately, what tends to happen with this is first your self-confidence starts to get crushed because you don't know what to do. Then you start doing things like making stories up to friends and family about how you're doing because you want to appear better than you are. Then you start tolerating a lower level of living. You cancel your gym membership, you start wearing the same outfits over and over again, you start cutting out all those extra expenses, and then you get to a point where you just start getting bitter and you wonder whether this is for you. And I know that I was going through that path on my own. And I gave myself a year to figure it out. And if I didn't figure it out, I was going to give it all up and go back and get a job. Now, the problem with getting a job is that I don't like to be told what to do. If you were to talk to my husband or my father, they would affirm that readily. And because of that, I really wanted to figure out what I needed to do to get money coming in consistently. And what I realized is that when I looked at everything that I was doing to generate money, I was doing everything backwards. And I was doing everything in the wrong time. And essentially, what I learned is, first of all, that there are 5 steps to making money. The first step is that you have to shift your relationship with money. So if you're looking at money and you're afraid of the money, or you're avoiding money, or you're procrastinating around the money, it doesn't matter how many classes or courses you take, how many sales techniques you learn, or marketing strategies, you're going to avoid them. And how that relates to what's going on now, guys, is the first thing I'm telling my clients is look at your numbers. All of you should look at your numbers and figure out, where am I right now? How much money is coming in March? How much money is coming in April, May, and June? What money has been dropped? I don't know if it's happening over there, but I know in our world, people are leaving, right? Like there's certain clients that may not stay with you. So do some estimates there. Look at your expenses. Figure out, is there anything that can be thrown out right now for at least from March through June, so that you can live on a little less if you need to, as we move into the next couple months. And then look at, how much do I need to make at a minimum, right? So that you know very clearly, because I think everybody's so numb right now that what's interesting is that when I've made my clients do this exercise, I would say 90% of them have come back and been like, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, I looked at my numbers and everything's okay. Like, I could ride this out. And then the clients that have come back and said, you know what, I can't ride this out, or this is going to be a major problem for me. Maybe you just started, maybe you don't have savings. One of the things that I recommend is that you start thinking now about, where can you borrow the money if you know you're going to need it. So one of the things that I recommend now is that you all start looking into getting lines of credit for your businesses. If you don't already have a line of credit, look into it. You're not all going to be able to get one, but it's worth trying, and it's worth trying now, because as the economy responds to this, it will be harder to get loans. I don't know how many of you were in business for 2008, but I was. And what happened in 2008 was that loans became harder and harder to get as more and more people wanted them. So even if you don't think you're going to need a line of credit, get one. If you can't get a line of credit because maybe you don't have enough credit or whatnot, or you don't have a bank or whatever, get an extra credit card or 2 now, just to create some cushion for yourself. And understand, you're not the only one doing this. There's no shame in this game. There's not a single long-term company that has not been through a recession, or a place of hardship, or a place of contraction. The only difference between one that has been through one and made it, and another who has been through one and quit, is the one that has been through one and made it has the foresight to find places to find money to float them through the hard times. That's it, guys. It's not like anyone else is better than you. So, or smarter than you, or is doing this whatever bullshit kind of comments that we make up in our heads. It's all about just looking at your numbers, right? So rolling back, I'm still in step 1, right? Which is shifting your relationship with money so that you're not afraid to look at your numbers, right? Step number 2 is focus on revenue generating activities. Now, right now in this market, I'm going to go over revenue generating activities because they have shifted. Like for the next 3 months, they're going to be a little bit different than what they were. What I would previously have told you is the number 1 revenue generating activity, our activities are speaking and sponsorships. because they're getting you out in front of people, and there's a know, like, and trust factor. And those will come back come June, July, and August. But I'm going to show you some other ways to generate revenue in a few moments. But that's piece 2. Piece 3, track your numbers. Just, there's lots of numbers to track, but I would say the most important numbers you should be tracking right now are revenue coming in, but also just regularly looking at your numbers for March, April, May, and June, and seeing how you're doing and what would happen, trying to make your best projection of what could occur. I know it's scary. And to look at those numbers, you guys, for me, even, it was scary. I had to have my husband sit at the table with me to do it over the weekend. Like, I was like, I don't want to look. I don't want to know. I don't want to see. I don't want the reality to set in. But I knew I needed to do it because I needed to prepare now for anything that was going to happen. Step number 4 is create a dynamic plan. And everything I've been talking about is planning, right? And what I mean by dynamic plan is that you're looking at a plan daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. Oh, awesome, Jill. I'm seeing Jill's comment. Low interest loans are now available through SBA and Invest Atlanta. Thank you, Jill. Check out her comment, you guys, on that. The 4th piece here on dynamic planning, we have a planner called the 90-day planner. And that it really puts into place this concept of dynamic planning. You might want to check that out. It's at breakthroughplanners.com. But the real key of dynamic planning is that you are sitting down at the end of each day and at the end of each week and looking at what happened today. What do I want to get done tomorrow? What happened last week? What do I want to get done next week? It sounds simple, but 80% of business owners don't do it. 80% of business owners go into each day trying to create the same to-do list without any sort of foresight into what is the most important activities to do. And you'd be surprised at how far your business will go when you actually start looking at it from the perspective of, let me plan ahead and try to think through what are the main actions that are going to move my business forward versus fighting fires all day long, every day, all week long. And step number 5 is rinse and repeat. So rinse and repeat is all about gaining mastery and excellence by doing the same things over and over again. And really what that's about is how do you start to avoid shiny penny syndrome? Where you're constantly creating new businesses or creating new marketing plans or doing new activities. How do we get ourselves to focus on doing something from start to finish and getting really good at it? Okay, so having said all of that, when I was able to follow those steps, it really shifted my business. I paid off the $25,000 in debt in 12 months. Over the next 7 months after that, I put $7,000 into savings. And then every year after that, I doubled or tripled my revenue until 2013. Doubled or tripled my revenue. And then in 2013, we crossed 7 figures in our company. And we've been a 7-figure coaching company ever since. That's going on 7 years. And so we've coached over 10,000 students. We've generated over $10 million in revenue. But the thing that makes me happiest about all of that is that my bigger mission on the planet is to help women business owners change the conversation around money. And I also know that if we put money into the hands of women, that this world will look like a different place. Because what women do is women uplift their communities. Notice even like if I were to add, like right now, if I were to pop quiz all of you and be like, what would you do if I gave you $100,000? At least 90% of your answers would be, some of it would be like pay off debt, send the kids to school. But then almost all of you would answer with some sort of community improvement or family, like extended family improvement. Send your niece to college, take your parents to Europe, something like that, because that's how women think. The problem up until now is the very code of making money has been in the reign and domain of men. And so my mission on the planet is to make sure that we as women change that legacy and we get really smart about making money so that we can change the planet. And with everything that's going on right now, the world needs us. Like it needs us to learn this stuff so that we can step into something bigger and better. And as a side note, I don't know if you guys have watched it, but on Netflix, there's a amazing show right now called Self-Made, and it's the story of Madam C.J. Walker. And it is brilliant. Like if you're looking for a story to inspire you to move through this hardship, you know, that story is amazing. Like I'm making it mandatory for all of my clients to watch it. You know, there's nothing better than when you get a movie as mandatory homework. Remember with school when you got a movie to watch, you were like, yeah. Anyway, so I just, you know, it's just, she's such a great example of a woman that literally changed an entire industry, right? Like changed an entire the entire outlook of what women could do. And it's you know, and I used her as examples all the time before the Netflix series, but it's super fun now that I can actually, that there's a series that really talks about her life. Well, it's loosely based on her life. Okay, so let's move into what are we going to do now? So first I want to just talk a little bit about mindset. Here's the thing is that I want everybody to just take a moment and just take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. And I want you to imagine getting to December of 2020. You got to do December of 2020. And I just want you to ask yourself, what will you look back upon during this time? Like when you're out getting drinks with your friends or getting a coffee with a friend or green juice, what will you say that you did in March, April, May, June of 2020? How will you say that you used your time? What will you have learned? What will you have done during this time? And what I want for all of us, myself included, is let's make ourselves proud, right? I want us all in December to look back on this period and say, I was scared. I had my moments of fear and panic and paralysis, but I also did stuff. I learned stuff. I grew. I observed. I pivoted. I changed. I took action. I got ahead. And I moved. And it would be very easy right now to sit and do nothing. It would be very easy right now to fall into the climate of most people who are corporate, you know, of like just panic, or to go half-mast. And there's nothing wrong with resting. Like I have a massage therapist who is totally just closing her business and taking a 2-week vacation, like a staycation at home and loving her life. And if that's you, great. But if you're somebody who has often wished that she could get ahead, if it always feels like your to-do list is too long, you know, if it feels like, gosh, I just wish I could have some time to get stuff done, then this is the time to do it. So I want to start with encouraging you to really think, what am I going to look back on? Who am I going to be? And then the next question that I want to ask all of you is, what is the coronavirus teaching me? And I'd love to get some sharing there. I know for me, the coronavirus, it's teaching me to slow down for sure. Right now, I'd be in Atlanta with all of you. I would have gotten on a plane. I would have had 3 events. My sinuses probably are upset with me anyway, but they probably would have been throwing a tantrum for sure by now. And so I'm definitely learning about self-care in the body. Now, what's hilarious about this is I'm also learning how much I emotionally eat. I don't know if, I mean, I'm being vulnerable here, guys. I don't know if any of you have sort of, you know, heard things. And I have to be honest, the only reason I have not gone overboard on sugar is because I'm not allowed to leave the house. And because I have immune issues. So my husband is the one that's like getting the food. And so I thank God, right? Because if I were getting the food, I'd come back with like 5 chocolate bars. And so I'm learning, right, about me and about how to deal with my thoughts. And so I'd love for you guys to share in the chat what's the coronavirus teaching you, right? Like on different levels. Yeah, Janet Turner, I'm seeing I'm learning new ways to connect with people for sure. Kimberly, stocked up on ice cream. I hear you, right? Thankfully, I'm not an ice cream person. My husband is, but man, like the grocery store would just be a bad situation for me right now. Um, uh, Carmelita, I can relate. Uh, Teaching me to focus on myself and work out more, from Sean, from Sarah. What we fear isn't necessarily the reality. I think that's so true, Sarah. Working out more, absolutely. You know, one of the other things I've learned through this is I could read Eckhart Tolle all day long and talk about present moment and mindfulness, but man, this has taught me to live in the present moment more than anything I've ever experienced in my whole life, because we don't know what's coming. We don't know like what tomorrow's going to bring for some of us, especially with my business, because so much of my business was based on live events. Um, you know, it's like I don't know what we're doing tomorrow. I don't know what new ideas we're creating, and really having to be okay with that and being living in the present moment. I think that's like the biggest lesson. Awesome. Josette, reassuring of how I need to get back to multiple streams of income for sure, right? Awesome. So I just want to point that out because I want everybody to always be thinking of what is this teaching me, right? From every day here on out, no matter what this brings, what is this teaching me? And then there's one other question that I just want you to, we're not going to answer this as a group right now, but I do want you to carry it forward, which is what is the coronavirus kicking me in the butt to do? Because there's also some stuff that we've been afraid of, that now we have to do. For those of you that weren't into doing Facebook Lives and videos and webinars and getting online and building your list and social media, suddenly now you're actually being kicked in the butt to learn it and create other new revenue streams as well. So it's just a great way to look at it from a place of love, instead of from a place of fear. Okay, so I'm going to go over the 3 S's of Corona. Um, Number one, and these are 3 things that you want to be thinking about in this time. The best things that we can do for ourselves are serve others. And what I mean by serve others is share your wisdom with other people. And that can be through video or lives. It can be through newsletters. It can be just picking up the phone and calling, but serving others. Number 2, skill sets. This is a great time to upgrade skill sets. And it doesn't have to be just skill sets in your business. If you're somebody that has less time than you've ever had because you've got a 2 and a 5-year-old running around, then maybe you're upgrading your skill set on being a mom. If you're somebody who's taking care of an elderly parent and suddenly now that becomes more urgent than ever, then you're upgrading your skill set around relationships. So we can think of this in lots of different ways. I have a client who's a stager and her entire business is shut down right now. She's taken a watercolor class, like full on. She's like, okay, we're just going to take this time off and I'm going to do something fun. So upgrading skill sets. And then the third really important lesson of Corona is surrender. And some people don't like that word. So if you don't like that word, replace it with another one. And what I mean by surrender is learning to live in the present moment and trust that everything that is coming is in your best interest and that we will be able to get through all of it. So in service of skill sets, I want to talk about the 4 C's of thriving under uncertainty: communication, connection, care, and creation. So many of you have talked about, like, what do I need to do now? So the first C is communication. And what you need to do now for many of you is make sure you reach out to your clients to tell them what is happening with you and your business. So, and what I mean there is, so for example, we sent an email out yesterday saying to all of our clients, reassuring them, letting them know how they could reach out to us if they needed extra support, asking them to make sure that they showed up at the classes and the calls, letting them know that I was doing Facebook Lives, because I'm doing lives Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to give them extra support. If you're somebody, like I just talked to a client who's a massage therapist, all of her business is completely closed down. For her, we set up a communication plan where she's emailing her clients every 2 weeks to give them tips on pain management that they can do at home, because she works with pain a lot with her massages. So what is your communication plan? Because if this thing goes 90 days, you want to make sure that your people have heard from you during that time, so that when they come back, they're suddenly not canceling your contracts or not showing up with you in your business. The second thing is, yeah, plan periodic updates or helpful emails. And then you can also check in via text or phone. So one thing I did with my private clients is I just texted all of them and said, hey, are you okay? Let me know if you need to get on the phone. If you need anything. And surprisingly, I have about 25 private clients, and all of them were just like, we're just like, thank you. We'll talk in our next session. So, most people are doing well, but it's really good for them to know that you are there and that you're stepping into a model of leadership for them. Connection, that's the second C. And I'm happy to answer questions about any of this. So just put your questions in the chat, but know that you might want to write your questions down, because sometimes I have trouble scrolling back up and catching a question. So just remember your question as well, because we'll do them at the end. Connection. Connection is, okay, here's what y'all need to know. This is a window of opportunity. There are more people scrolling Facebook and the internet than there have ever been, ever. And they are allowed because they're at home. So nobody's looking over their shoulder. So they can scroll the internet all day long. So one of the things of being of service that can be really helpful now to people is showing up visibly, doing things that like Facebook Lives or Instagram Lives, doing videos, creating and uploading videos. And you can create and upload videos to Facebook, to YouTube, to Instagram, and to LinkedIn. So you could do one video and upload it to all 4 channels. Doing newsletters and emails, where you're writing to your clients and talking about what's going on out there, and doing webinars, like creating educational content. Now, the beauty of this is that for anybody that's been afraid to do this or hasn't been doing it, now you've got an opportunity to move into that fear to do it, because you have the space, right? It's not like you're going out to 3 networking events a week anymore. So the time and energy that you would have put to doing those external in-person events, you can now put into connecting virtually. Now, I want to give you some tips on exactly how to connect. So I wanted to give you a video or a live template that you can use, because, as much as everybody is going live and doing videos, what you don't want to do is ramble. And there's a lot of rambling going on out there. And it's not so much that rambling is bad at first. It's just that people won't come back. They won't watch you again and again. And so you want to create like raving fans, and not people who just like watch you once and then are like, I have no idea what she's talking about. So a couple of things to remember. Videos, I'm going to tell you the difference between videos and lives in a minute in terms of purpose, but this sort of template works for both of them. So the first one is an intro. So you want to open, okay, here's what you need to know. If you're doing a live, even though typically Facebook takes anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes to tell people that you're doing a live. So you want your live to be a little bit longer. You want your lives to be 10 to 20 minutes, just so that people have time to come there. But here's what you need to know. What you don't want to do is what I see a lot of people doing, which is you ramble during the first 10 minutes because you're kind of waiting for the people to show up. The reason you don't want to do that is because the live turns into a video. And then when it turns into a video and people press it to watch it, they won't consume it if the first 10 minutes you're not like immediately diving into content. Does that make sense, you guys? So when you're doing a live or a video, the template looks like this. You do your intro, you do your problem. So you would introduce yourself, say, hi, I'm Monica Shaw, founder of Revenue Breakthrough. And today I'm going to be talking about how to do videos. Then you would go into a problem. Now, what you don't want to do is just state the problem. Most people don't know how to do videos. That's kind of boring. What you want to do instead is show the problem. And the way you might show the problem is to say, if you're like is to show how the problem is showing up in their lives. So for example, if you're like most of my clients, you intend on doing a video, maybe you even have the camera and the lighting, but you keep procrastinating about it. So you even block it in your calendar to do like next Wednesday, but then Wednesday comes along and you end up doing something else. And then the next Wednesday comes along and you end up doing something else. And before you know it, you're just not doing the video. And you know that part of it is that you just don't want to get on camera. You don't want to have to do your hair. You don't have to do your makeup, and you're not really sure of yourself, but you just don't know what to do, right? So that's the problem. Then you would give a solution. And the solution you guys know how to do, right? The only suggestions I would give on solutions is see if you can put it into a framework. A framework is like an acronym. So like the COOL method, and then you would do like COOL, or a framework could be 3 steps or 3 pillars. Or it could be an image like the 4 wheels of a car, or the 3 windows, the 4 windows of a car. But have it be in a framework, because frameworks are easier for people to learn. Then you move into a specific close, which is for most of you, your specific close would be asking for a conversation or sending people to a free gift. So this is a specific call to action. And then a general close or a general call to action might be, that depends on whether you're doing it on Facebook or whether you're doing it on Instagram. Because really what that is it's saying things like, okay, if you like this video, go ahead and like it and press the share button to share it with a friend. But if you're doing it on LinkedIn, like it might be, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and be sure to watch the other videos that are in the suggestion box. So depending on the vehicle, on the medium in which you're doing it on, the general close is going to be a little bit different. And some people don't do general closes. Like if you're not savvy with, whether you're going to do it on Facebook or whether you're going to do it on Instagram, just skip the general close and do a specific close. And ask people for a conversation, or if you're too nervous to do that right now, you can just say, hey, if leave me a comment, if you like this. Like that's the most the softest close, like the least stressful way to end a video. The difference between lives and videos are shorter. I would actually say 5 minutes or less is a video, and you shoot a video ahead of time and then upload it. Lives are live streaming. So this, we're live right now, essentially, because I'm live streaming to you, but then it's going to be turned into a video, down the road. So lives are typically longer and more interactive. And when I say more interactive, I mean, you might deliver content again in that first 10 minutes, but then for the next 10 minutes, you might just read people's comments and share and create content like as you're interacting with people. So, if you're asking like, what am I doing now? This is one of the things you're doing now. The beauty of this piece, this connection piece, is that you are building relationships. That's what you're doing. You're building stronger relationships. Who knows what that's going to lead to? It could lead to sales down the road. It could lead to opportunities down the road. But there's an opportunity to build stronger relationships right now. On my lives, I've been doing lives at 5 o'clock in my Facebook group. If you're not in my Facebook group, it's revenuebreakthrough.com/FB group for Facebook, FB group. You can go in there and join it. And we've had over 100 people on each live. And that's a much higher number than we would normally have. So this is just a really nice opportunity to build relationships with people. The third C here is creation. And creation is what are you creating you could offer to your audience that's brand new. Okay, so here's what it comes down to. Some of you are going to be in a marketplace where maybe you were a coach before and you charge, say, $3,000. And you're maybe in a marketplace where you're like, I don't know that people want to buy a $3,000 coaching program right now. So maybe you're going to start offering single coaching sessions or single healing sessions. Just for now, maybe just for the next 30 or 60 days until we sort of move into a better place. Some of you may be offering new profit. Like maybe you're somebody, I just worked yesterday with a massage therapist who we created a new offer on relaxing the body through pain. And that was going to be a $47 offer that she put out to her list. And it's something that she never put out to her list before. So, what I want you to be thinking about is, what are you creating during this time? And again, everything is in the vision of service. What would serve people right now? And then some people are doing free offers right now. So you might like do a free class, or you might take one part of a group program that you did, or of a product, excuse me, of a product that you made, and you would offer that for free. Now, keep in mind, I talked to somebody on a live yesterday, and she said, Monica, it just feels like I want to give everything away for free. And just be careful of that. Like, I know, keep it like, you just want to be savvy with yourself. I, if you're noticing that a lot of people are giving stuff away for free, what I do want you to notice is that most of the things that they're giving away for free doesn't require their time, right? So it's a class that you could do, or a group program that you can join, or a recording that you can listen to. So if you want to be of service right now and give stuff away for free, don't just make sure you're not giving away your one-on-one time, because it could just be overwhelming for you. Unless you want to, of course, but just be careful about that. Okay. Sheila's asking, what do you charge? Sheila, for which one? Like, you mean in general, or like for a particular product? If you're asking like, what do you charge for a product? Oh, for coaching. Do you mean like for one session of coaching? Because like people charge all different things for coaching, Sheila. Um, so I'm not sure. So Sheila, I guess I would need to, you want to know how much to charge for a 10 session package. Um, okay. Uh, I would assume, a 10 session package would be close to a 3-month program. I would charge, if you're just starting, Sheila, which I'm assuming you are, I would charge 350 a month, or a pay in full of 900. And I wouldn't do it in sessions, I would do it in months. All right, good, good, good. I will go back and get more questions. The final C here is care. And what this means here, guys, and this goes without saying, is that the more responsibility, one of the things I like to teach here is the more people always ask me, Monica, how do you increase your container? How do you increase your container to handle more? How do you manage a bigger team? How do you travel more? How do you do bigger events without freaking out? And ultimately, one of my answers is that as you increase your level of responsibility, you have to increase your level of self-care. Like, they have to be equal. So that's on every level. So if I'm not home as much, it means that there are people taking care of my home, right? It doesn't mean I come home and the house is not cleaned and the fridge is not full. It means that there are people filling my fridge and cleaning my house. And so one of the things that I just wanted to really reiterate here is that the reason I put this in is because many of you have a large amount of responsibility right now. You've got kids at home, you've got a business that you're trying to run. Some of you have teenagers at home, which can sometimes be worse. You've got college kids, adult kids at home. And so I just want to point out that you want to take some time for you through this experience. So, number one, having grace for yourself, being compassionate, having quiet time, even if it's 5 or 10 minutes in the morning and in the evening, prayer and meditation, um, creating room to deal with the emotions that are going to come up, just because we don't have the distractions that we had before. So all those emotions that we pushed away, they're going to come up. So just creating some space to deal with those is really important. And then also the schedule has changed. So suddenly now, like, everybody's schedule is off what it used to be. So taking some time to create a new schedule and taking some time to make sure that there's recovery added to that new schedule as well. And, I say that all knowing that, everyone's in a different situation here. So even if it means 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in the evening, just to get us through, because I know for a lot of you, if your parents especially, you don't even have childcare right now, right? Like, there's just nothing. It's just you trying to run a business with kids running around, with no real support. And I just, my heart goes out to you in that scenario. And I just want you to give yourself grace. That's why I put grace as the first one, because it's like, you're not going to get it all done. This may not be your most driven, ambitious moment. You may have to take your workload down, your expectation down, the revenue down, and just being compassionate with yourself, knowing that this will go away. We will get back to normal. The kids will, they may not go back to school, but at least you'll be able to give them to somebody else for a couple hours at some point soon. And so there's, that will happen. And you just need to give yourself the grace of like, I can't get to everything right now. I can't be the superwoman entrepreneur that I maybe thought that I was even a month ago. And that's okay. That is okay. You're not alone. All right. Okay, so I want to just take a moment and answer. First, I want to just introduce you to some of my clients. One of the things that a lot of my people have said to me during this time is that they want to upgrade their skill sets. So I want to introduce you to Cledra. Cledra's actually from Atlanta. Some of you might know her. She actually, when we worked together, she was able to land a new client within a week of us working together. And she actually built her business to an $80,000 business when we were working together. Some of you may know Catherine Marshall. She's also from Atlanta. She started as a personal trainer, trading hours for dollars. And I helped her move from personal trading into online health coaching. And now she's got a multiple six-figure business. And I believe there was one more, Steve Walker. Steve Walker was a therapist. Him and his wife had gone through cancer. So they had a huge mountain of medical debt. And when I started working with them, we transitioned them from being therapists and charging per session to doing programs with people. And we got them to be generating $8,000 to $10,000 a month, and they started to be able to pay off their medical bills and in a big way. So I introduce you to these clients. They give you inspiration that even now things can shift and change because they're all using these methods now. And then I also want to introduce you for those of you that are wanting to upgrade your skill set now. While you have the time and energy, I wanted to invite you to our Client Jumpstart program. It's a program that teaches you how to get 7 new clients in the next 60 days. Now, it's really, what I've done is I've cherry picked 7 strategies to teach you how to get in front of clients in the next 60 days. I do want to be very clear with you guys though. I actually teach 9 strategies in the program. 4 of them do require you to leave the home. So 4 of them, you're going to have to wait until we can get out of quarantine to do. But the other 5, you can do now, just so you know. By the end of the course, you'll know where to find your ideal clients. You'll be crystal clear on what you're selling to them and your price point, and you have 7 concrete strategies to find more clients. And this is how the class works. There's 4 parts to the class. So in the first part, we answer the questions of where are your clients? And what are you offering and how much are you charging? So we get clarity on that, and then we give you 2 strategies to get in front of clients. Then the second class, we teach you how to put together offerings that are recurring income offerings, and we teach you 2 more strategies. The third class, this is where we teach sales. So I teach heart-to-heart sales conversations in this one, and then I teach you 2 more strategies. And then in the 4th class, I teach you how to move through objections when you're having the sales conversations. And I teach you how to build systematic cash flow. And in that last class, you get 4 more strategies. So you get 9 strategies in total, and they each have templates that go with them. And there's also some bonuses that come with this program. One of them is the 90-day planner that I talked about. We send you that in the mail once you sign up. And this is what our planner looks like. And then the other bonus is our Master Your Money live event. Our Master Your Money live event, it was supposed to be, it's in Atlanta, and it was May 14th through 16th. And I'm super excited about that. And that was the thing I was going to tell you all about today. But for better or for worse, we have moved it. And it has to be postponed until the fall now. We don't have an exact date on it. But We will give you the date when we get it, and you also get a free ticket to this event as well when you buy the Client Jumpstart program. Just know the value of this program is $630, but for tonight, the program is $145. So if you go to the site, clientjumpstart.com, the program's actually $195. But I wanted to give you $50 off, just given what's going on in the world, make it easy to buy, a no-brainer, hopefully something that's, maybe 2 or 3 meals out. And I wanted to give you something that would help you to upgrade your skill sets while you have the time and the energy now to do that. You would just put the code SAVE50 in the promotion box at clientjumpstart.com, clientjumpstart.com. So there's 2 different options on the page. You can do one payment of $145, or if you know you want to come to the Master Your Money event, you can go ahead and register for the bundle, which is $145 plus $197. And that $197 gets refunded to you when you come to the event. That's a refundable ticket to the event. You can always register for the event later if you want. Some people just know that they're going to come, and so they wanted to do it together. Also, there's a guarantee. You can get the program. If you don't like it or it's not a good fit for you, you can ask for your money back within 14 days, and we'll give you your money back minus $35 for the shipping of the planner. This is what the page looks like, clientjumpstart.com. Here's your 2 options. Notice that it says $195 here, guys. So just for today only, this is until midnight tonight, you can get it for $145. And it's just my way of making sure, especially given what's happening, that things are affordable and reachable for you. So what you'll do is in that promo code box right there, you'll put SAVE50, and that'll take that down to $145. Then you'll get your welcome, and then you'll get a username and a password to our member site. And this is what the member site looks like. The 4 classes are recorded in there, and the handouts and the bonuses are there. And then again, it's $145, and that's with the code 750. I'm sorry, SAVE50, SAVE50. And to register, go to clientjumpstart.com. And if you've got questions, feel free to call. It's 1-800-208-0913. And again, it's clientjumpstart.com. And I want to pause here and just answer questions. I'm going to scroll through and see if you guys wrote questions, but as I'm scrolling, feel free to put them at the bottom or just put your hand up and I'll unmute you if you've got questions. Okay, I'm seeing one question. What was your first business? Carmelita, my first company was called Ideal Balance. And it was all about, I was a consultant for professionals. I worked mostly in corporate, although I did individuals too, on health and wellness and balance. Maxine, what about meeting people where they are or allowing them to make you an offer? You mean like for your services, Maxine? Like right now? Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's a bad idea at all, Maxine. The only thing is that you need, like, they teach you in any sort of negotiation class that you want to always have your bottom. So you just want to make sure, Maxine, that whatever you're offering people, that you know what the lowest number is that you are willing to take on it. Because if you go below your lowest number, it doesn't matter that it's what time it is, you're going to get bitter. You just are. You're going to get bitter. And also remember, Maxine, be careful, because if you go below your lowest number, often the person who's buying doesn't value it either. So just be really careful about going too low with people. And then, what often happens when people go to coaching schools is that they tell them at coaching schools, like, go get a bunch of free clients. And then when they go get a bunch of free clients, the clients don't show up, don't do the work because they're not valuing it. So just be aware of that. Okay, perfect. Janet, as an insurance agent, could this benefit me? We have specific guidelines more of independent agents. So Janet, the this benefit me piece, I'm assuming what you're asking about is, could you do videos and lives? Let me just see if I can see you. Yeah, is that what you mean? Yeah, and the answer is absolutely. In fact, the only, like, even beyond Corona and everything that's happened, I taught all my insurance agents, my lawyers, my what are they called? People that sell estates. You know, like all of those people. There's estate planners. Thank you. There's so many of them, of you out there, that the only way to differentiate yourself is on personality. The only way. And so the only way to differentiate yourself on personality is to teach, right? And the only way to teach right now is to do videos and lives. So maybe they're not thinking about buying insurance right now. Maybe they are, who knows? But regardless, you teaching about different aspects of insurance as it relates to right now means that suddenly they're like, oh, this Janet, she shows up. I like her, right? I like her personality. Okay. And then when they meet you at a networking event, they'd be like, oh, I saw your video, and I liked it. And like, so it's just, you know, even like I teach this stuff in all economies, right? Like the videos, the connections, the lives, because I honestly, guys, like I don't know if some of you are young, some of you, but some of you do remember a time when we didn't have this, where all of your meeting of people and educating people had to be in person. And like this is it makes life so much easier to do it this way. So long answer, Janet, but absolutely. And I would say, just so you know, like I have a ton of different insurance agents, like selling different kinds of insurance, life insurance, business insurance, like accident insurance, different kinds of insurance in my program. And this is like using videos and live as how they've actually increased their business, is that they've built trust with people because they're willing to show up and explain things. Perfect, Janet. Okay. Maxine, please share examples of revenue generating activities virtually. So the thing is, Maxine, is, well, I would say the best revenue generating activity virtually is a webinar. And so let me find you and see if I can unmute you. Okay, I don't see her on here. Maybe you're not, yeah, you just probably don't have your camera on. Okay, so the thing about the revenue generating activities, let me just explain. If you're doing a webinar, what you can do is you can invite people to the webinar, and then at the end of the webinar, you can invite people to conversations. And then from those conversations are sales conversations. And the number one revenue generating activity is a sales conversation. So right now, that is a very, very, like, that's like the best revenue generating activity virtually now. But keep in mind that with the environment that we're in now, if you just throw out a webinar and you've never done one before and you've never showed up before, like you've never done a live, you've never done a video, you may or may not get people to your webinar because they don't know you and you haven't built a relationship with them. So I recommend that you start building your visibility now, so that people start seeing you out there. They start building a relationship with you so that when you do a webinar, they actually want to come to your webinar. Okay, great. So if you already do lots of lives and workshops, that's great, Maxine. I'm assuming you already have a list. Then you can absolutely do a webinar now. Then you've already built that relationship. And then one other thing too is that, so remember, the number one activity is a sales conversation. Remember that on your lives and at the end of your videos, you can ask people to set up conversations with you, right? So those can also be revenue generating right now as well. And then there's also the old-fashioned tried and true, which is calling people, checking in on people, and then seeing how they're doing. And then right now, that may or may not turn into a sales conversation, but you never know. I had a client yesterday. She just took out her list of all of her old clients. One by one, went down the list, called everybody to check on them. And it was probably a list of 20 or so people. And two of them asked for further conversations to coach with her again. So she's probably going to convert 2 people from that. So just remembering that we still are allowed to use the phone.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
Okay. Other questions? And just keep in mind with where things are now, like we've been in quarantine 1 week. This will be the end of the second week, as we go into tomorrow. A lot of people are freaking out because they're like, I don't want to sell. I don't want to sell. That's if you just give it some time, people are going to get back into some sense of normalcy, even from the quarantine space, by like mid to end of April. So Maxine, if you are looking to do a webinar, I would actually schedule it for mid to end of April.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. Is there any other questions?
This is Sheila. Can you hear me?
I can.
I'm on unmute. So I do a 6-session coaching series.
Okay.
And I do it on Zoom. So if I'm wrapping up one, if I want to do another one, would you see? I don't need to wait till the end of April necessarily.
No, you don't.
And I may lower my price or give them a special or something like that.
Well, okay. So here's what I would say is that you don't need to wait until the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
However, how do you normally sell it? Do you just put emails out to your list, or do you do it through a webinar?
I have not done it through a webinar. I'm doing my first one right now. And what I did was people I already knew. I did a 35-minute conference call about the series. And then I had 5 people register.
Okay, great. And how much is it?
$3,000.
Okay. And that was the one that you're doing, and you're doing that right now. And
Yes.
when did those people register?
In February. Right before Corona. Yeah.
Okay. And so now you're ready to do it again. And you're thinking you were going to use that same way of doing it, which is like reach out to friends and family?
I was going to do it that way. Some of them have referrals, but I was looking at charging less, like special.
Yeah, you could totally do that right now. What I will say to you is be open to the fact that some people, see, the thing is I don't know, right? Because I'm not telepathic about what the market is. But but what I think is happening right now, if you were just asking me intuitively, is that people are in a little bit of a hold and wait pattern at the moment. So even if they can pay for you, they may be in a hold and wait pattern. And however, and this is, again, me just being intuitive with it. I don't know, and I'm not, you do what you feel is right. But I feel like that hold and wait will start to loosen 2 weeks from now.
Okay, great.
So just because I think there's going to be a need for all of us to just be like, screw it, something has to be normal again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't just be in fear all the time. I can't put all my purchases on hold. I can't hold all my problems. I got to get some things solved. You know what I mean? I got to get some help and support. And so I think, so what I would say to you is maybe you start those conversations now, but you don't start the class until mid to late April. Just in case you have some hold and waits. And then you can say, all right, I'm going to get back to you. We're going to set up another conversation, mid to late April.
Okay, good. No, that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. Good. I'm loving these questions.
So Monica, it's Maxine again. One of the things that we're doing too, from a business perspective, not on the nonprofit side, is that we're starting to hold weekly networking, virtual networking sessions, just to check in with people, see what's going on, determining how we can best collaborate and partner with each other, and giving everybody the opportunity to kind of share and find out what their needs are, and then offer our support, and then go into those private conversations or sales conversations relative to what you do. What do you think about that?
Okay, so everyone's sharing and they're networking. And then when you said go into the private conversations, did you mean like,
if I tell them that, we're working with, helping them with pivoting into their new career, if it's either coaching, resume writing, or helping them to get some additional training or what have you, and if they want to talk to me more specifically about their particular issue, then I will make that a separate conversation versus just in a whole networking virtual call.
absolutely. So that's making an offer. And I would say that's a great idea. You should be doing that. Just make it clear. I always teach my people, don't hide your offers. So like make it clear. Hey guys, I'm here for you. If you want to talk more about, changing your resume or a new career, I would love to set up conversations. I have more time now than I've had in weeks. Here's my email address. Email me, or here's the link to set that up. It's complimentary. On this call, we will go over, what you want in your job or in your career, what's keeping you from getting there, and we'll help you create a plan. Do you see how I'm not hiding the offer?
Right, I do. And I think that's really, really good.
Okay, good. Yeah, so yes, totally great. Just because sometimes people do drive-by offers where it's like, oh, I told them they could talk to me, but it's like, it took like 2 minutes for you to say that. And in those 2 minutes, people could zone out. And I'm not at all saying you're doing this. I'm just saying it for the learning of the group.
Yeah, I had a situation where a lady reached out to me, and she was really stuck in her career, and she was leveraging my HR experience, and she really wanted to figure out, and she was like a high level professional, just struggling. And so as we started to talk, then I let her tell me a little bit about what she was struggling with, and then I went into my rates and how I can help her, how I can create a plan, and so on and so forth. And then it was almost like she was surprised.
Yeah. Well, one way, so that's not unusual if she's never worked with a coach before. So that might have not been because of your offer. It might have been because she just isn't, doesn't know what coaching prices are. And the only reason I say that is because often people who work with corporate professionals have that response where people are like shell shocked. So one way that you can reduce it, or at least clarify it, is that when you're opening your sales conversations, you can say, we're going to be here for 45 minutes. I'm going to help you figure out where you are, where you want to go, and give you some strategies to get there. And then I'm going to share with you how we can work together. So you're telling her that from the get-go. And then
but you never mentioned your price though.
No, not until the end, right? But at the beginning, you're at least telling her that you are going to make an offer at the end. I mean, this is the beginning of a sales conversation, like that conversation you would have with her. It's a way to
Absolutely.
open it.
Exactly. And so to your point, we did that. I shared, at first I let her tell me what her needs were. And then I gave her kind of an outline of what I can do to help her, and walked her through a couple of different things that I felt was going to be beneficial for her to get to that next level.
But before you even start with what her needs are, literally like the first minute you get on the call, you say, hi, Sarah, let me tell you how these calls work.
Okay.
We're going to be together for the next 45 minutes, and it just structure. I'm not saying you have to do that, but it just tells the person that this isn't just free information.
Got it. That's good.
And that doesn't mean you're not going to get sticker shock. It just means that she's clear about what's coming. And then one question that you can ask, when she's telling you about her situation, you can ask the question of, have you ever worked with a coach before?
Okay.
And that gives you the information to know just how much shell or sticker shock may be coming with this individual.
Okay, got it. That's very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Got it.
Perfect. All right. Other questions?
I think that's about it. Monica, I want to thank you so much for being flexible. And I'm glad we were able to do this. I think canceling is the worst thing to do right now. I think women need a support system and they need to know that they're not alone. So I think right now, the Women's Chamber of Commerce and what you're doing is more important than ever. So, so I want to thank you very much. And I'll go ahead and stop the recording now.